What was your first job? Do you remember?
Putting stickers on out at Buffalo Ranch.
Oh, really? Stickers, like on
You
the
know,
products?
on the car?
Oh.
On the car?
Yeah.
People would come in, and if they were from out of state, we'd put Buffalo Ranch stickers on the car.
Really?
And I got paid 35 cents an hour and $15.75 a week for that.
Really?
When I was about 8 or 10 years old.
Okay. And that would keep you pretty busy. So
Yeah.
you did a lot of stickers then.
Well, you know, it's pretty busy, and some people didn't like it when you put them on there.
Oh, did you put it on there without asking them? You just did
If
it?
they came in from out of state, she told me put them on there, and if they don't like it, come talk to me.
Really?
So that's what I did. You know,
Really?
She was the one paying my check. So
So could you tell someone now that your first job was in advertising?
I could, I guess.
Man, that's kind of a bold strategy. You
Yeah.
know, to
Yeah. Well, you know, she thought that if you didn't want to be there,
Yeah.
and let us advertise, then you didn't need to be
Yeah.
worried about the sticker.
yeah.
But things were a little different then than they are now. You
Yeah.
know, people would really get upset if you did that to their car now.
Sure. And how old were you?
I was probably 8 or 10, I don't know.
Okay. and sweet enough that how could they say no, right?
Most people didn't say anything to me. They just went on.
And then the next stop peeled it off.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to take one off?
No, I don't know that you could. Those things were really stuck on there.
I love that. Well, that sounds fun. Well, tell us your name and then your wife's name and what ministry.
I'm George Marshall. My wife's name is Debbie, and I'm in shut-ins. We do shut-ins. Larry Kruse and I mostly.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah. And so, go ahead.
I just started to say because he's the one that got me started. You know,
Okay. How many years have you been working with shut-ins?
Since the other church,
Okay.
before we moved out here, it's been
Yeah.
quite a while.
Okay. So 15 plus years.
Yes.
Okay. That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about what you see the purpose or the importance of your ministry being.
I think the importance of our ministry is that we try to make people feel like they're still part of the church. You know, even when they can't come back to church, we want them to know that the church still cares about them, and
Yeah.
we're trying to make them feel better about not being able to come, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to do.
That's big. You know, you think about church, one of the great importances of it is being able to feel like you belong, you know, when you're there. But then when you can't, what do you do? And
Yeah.
I love how your ministry answers that. That's great. What are your favorite parts of being involved in the shut-in ministry?
We get to meet people that you don't usually know sometimes because you may have seen them before, but you don't get a chance to just really sit down and talk to them and
Yeah.
find out what they need to be prayed about or things like that.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of things we try to do, and take communion to them,
Okay.
make them feel like they're still part of the church.
Yeah. So conversation, communion, prayer, learning their story, I guess, in a lot of cases.
You know, you learn more about people when you sit and visit with them more.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's not only interesting, but probably valuable and encourages you along the way too.
Yeah, it makes you feel better when you do that. It does.
Yeah. That's great.
It's a good ministry for you as well as them.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the challenges of doing that ministry?
Well, right now, COVID is a big challenge.
Yeah.
Because you just can't go and visit, you know. Like this year, what we've done for Christmas, we took bags of stuff
Yeah.
to the shut-ins, and we just rang the bell and or called ahead, you know, and told them we were just going to ring the bell and leave it on the porch. And that worked out pretty well. Most of them appreciated that, I think.
Yeah. And what kinds of things in a bag? Just
Well, Amanda made up the bag, so I don't know everything in there. I didn't look, so it was just kind of, but you know, it was just little Christmassy things like socks or something like that. And
more than anything, probably just a way of reminding people that they're not forgotten. I'm
that's
sure.
it. That's what we were trying to do, is just make them remember that we hadn't forgotten them.
Yeah, that's great. Well, what types of needs do you have in your ministry?
Well, we can always use more people because there's lots of people, and the more people they get to talk to, the more they feel like they're part of a church still. And so that's the thing and we just need it to open up where we can start going again. That's the biggest thing probably.
Yeah. And if people would want to get involved in doing letters or phone calls or things like that, then you could really use anybody, right?
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, we just make a list and give them a list, and they can just call whoever they like and visit with them or send them a card. People are always nice to get cards because it makes people think they haven't been forgotten.
Yeah. Now, what kinds of things are helpful in going and having those conversations with people?
Well, we try to call ahead
Okay.
to make sure they know we're coming.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you go to the door, they know who you are. Because some of them don't always know you. I mean, they've seen you, but they may not know you.
Right.
And for me, it's better when I take Debbie with me because it's nicer when they see a man and a woman instead of just a couple of men.
Yeah.
And so, like Wally and I used to go, but everybody knew Wally, so it was not a big problem.
Yeah. And so being a conversationalist or, you know, being able to...
Yeah, Wally was good at that. He liked to talk to people, and I used to be really kind of shy about it. And so I'm still a little shy about talking to people I don't know.
Yeah. How do you overcome that personally?
You just have to go in and do what you can.
Yeah. Asking more questions or something, focus
you
on
try
that.
to learn more about them and what their needs are then, like if they've got pains or something that they'd like for you to pray about or something like that. You just try to do things like that to make them more comfortable with you.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure that's a great, not like an icebreaker, but to be able to offer prayer is something that is not aggressive, but it's, you know, a supporting, encouraging type.
And also communion. They're all glad when you bring communion with you. They really are. It seems like. And I don't always tell them, but you know, before I leave, I ask them if they'd like to take communion because I take one with me.
Okay.
Just to be sure.
Yeah. And what does that look like? A little kit?
I have a little kit.
Okay. And so you take that with you and then have a little bottle of grape juice or something that you can do?
Usually if I'm going to do somebody, I'll come out here and get the kit because I leave it out here for other people, you know, to use if they want to, and just fill it up and do what I need to do before I go.
That's good. Now, do you do very much at the time of communion with them? Do you read a scripture or just pray, or?
We just kind of pray.
Pray through it.
That's what I do usually.
Good. And so it doesn't take someone with a theology degree to take communion with someone. They can come and care about them and listen and pray for them.
And I think that's the biggest part of our ministry is just going and listening and caring about them.
Yeah. Well, I love that picture of helping someone to feel connected even when they can't. And that's very valuable to the church. And through the challenges that you've had this past year, I'm sure that it's brought some, has it been discouraging, I guess?
Well, you know, it's just kind of, you just can't do what you're used to doing. And so, you know, it's discouraging like it would be to anyone, you know, not to be able to go visit with people that you think could profit from having people, you know, because when you're home by yourself most of the time, you really like to have somebody come and visit with you. And just like us when sitting at home when all this is going on, I'm sure. Right.
Well, and I'm guessing that if someone's watching this video and they're watching from home even in an online format, that if they would appreciate a visit like that and they're not able to get out, then they could call the church office and probably set
one up with Larry or I1 or whoever.
Yeah, well, that's great.